Hi, my name is Dr. Sandra Villarreal Montgomery, President and Instructor with Viamont Educational Consulting. Today I'm with licensed therapist Julie Thigpen. We are going to talk about responsibilities, and particularly with students, kids, when should they start learning responsibilities? And a lot of us parents sometimes don't always realize when that age would be. And it also is dependent on what is going on. So I'm going to give you an example and then we're going to go with it. I have a child that forgot to bring their soccer cleats, and we found out 5 minutes before practice that they'd left the soccer cleats over at their dad's house. Now
what?
Now what?
And I think that the recognition that kids developmentally need different tasks at different ages. So gathering up their stuff should not be at 5 minutes before. It should be, we know this morning we've got soccer practice, where are your cleats? Do you have them with you? They're going to need reminders. I know I even expect out of my own daughter sometimes. It's like, don't you have your stuff? And yet the reminders are still important. So there's a developmental phase that's really important here, that younger kids need smaller responsibilities so that they gain the self-awareness, they gain the confidence that they can manage. It's like a mastery thing. I know how to do this. Then they're ready for other tasks. And so some of the first ones that we often look at for kids are things like learning to dress themselves and brush their teeth, just look basic hygiene. Well, we usually start that as preschoolers. And so by the time we get to kindergarten, we kind of think they should already know this. Well, the actual research that I have seen in Elizabeth Clary's book, Pick Up Your Socks and Other Household Charts, she's got some really good examples, and there's this really cool little graph. And so on the graph, you'll see that first one there, dress yourself. Yes, we can teach 2-year-olds to start helping us, to pull up their pants, to help put on their shoes, but they're still going to need us to help tie them and do those types of things. It's not until 11.
Oh, wow.
11 before they're going to be able to get dressed without.
And why did you say that 3 times?
Exactly.
11.
Because I would have expected my daughter could get herself dressed by the time she's 6 or 7, and I was still walking in the morning and she's laying on the floor half dressed and not knowing what's going on. And so those reminders, I think, are important. It's not just learning a skill and learning to be responsible enough to do the skill. It's doing it independently without support and reminders that differs between the tasks. So dressing yourself, where we start it when they're 2, and they're not going to do it independently until they're 11, down where cleaning their room is 5, 6, they're going to get a little bit of help. They're going to need your help, though. They're going to need your help. Even when they're 11, they're still going to need you to remind them, hey, put your clothes in the dirty clothes. I still have to remind my husband sometimes. But anyway, and so those ideas that it's not just learning it, it's when they can do it independently and having that expectation so your kids can meet it instead of constantly being told that they're not doing it well or that they're wrong because they didn't do it independently.
And I like that you brought up a point about building confidence. So little tasks
for little
kids. So there's an opportunity then. Great, you did this small thing, you encourage them, you build it up. You do it later, you build it up. And that's why I feel like even for some of us adults who are still watching a variety of shows like home edit or doing things. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to do this, but anyway, the home organizing shows,
right,
where we're still watching and looking for ideas. We're still learning,
right,
and we're still doing things. And sometimes there are things like setting a reminder, having consequences. We have our own consequences that we face, but the littles, they're still trying to figure it out. And especially when you were talking about the age range of some of these kids, you are saying something that we might be expecting more from a mid-range child that needs to have mid-range responsibilities.
Right.
And we're expecting maybe a little more, and we're thinking you should be past that. But sometimes that's not developmentally appropriate for that student or child.
and it's not on our list anywhere where that we had up a few minutes ago, but some of the basics, like when it's time to leave. In my work, I'm constantly faced with parents that are really struggling with the fact that their children have a hard time with transitions. It's time to go, it's time to do
Ooh.
things. So having enough reminders that we're almost ready to go, finish what you're doing, put your things away. Those are
Mhm.
still needed, even for me as an adult. If my husband comes in and says, "Hey, I'm going to go to Lowe's," well, I'm in the middle of something. Give me a minute. And so those,
Exactly.
being expecting normal and responsible children to even need reminders that's part of the deal. As an adult, I still
Mhm.
struggle. Did I grab my keys? Where are my keys? Hold on, let me find my keys. And so, did you leave them in your purse? Well, they should have been in my purse. I don't know where they are.
I try to be organized and have a key
I
hanger
know.
or a key
And so
dish, but yeah,
helping our
yeah.
children so that they don't become adults that are not knowing how to do these things. And so setting it up, what does it look like? Do we have all of our stuff together before it's time to go? Those little simple things to help them be more successful, they will gain more responsibility because they'll want to do it well.
I love that. Thank you. And that way you have good consequences. You're
Mhm.
helping them make good
Right.
choices. You're building their esteem and teaching them here again lifelong skills that some of us are still working on.
Absolutely.
Some of us are
I
still
don't make my
working
bed every
on.
day.
That's another thing, the make your bed every day. That'll be a whole other thing. I also think about the transition time
Right.
too. That I think I'd like to do another
Yeah, we could do
segment
that.
on that because I feel like
That's
that
huge.
could be very big.
Uh-huh.
That's essential for littles, essential for high schoolers, and even
For
adults.
me. Yeah.
Exactly. So thank you so much. We appreciate you listening to our discussion on responsibilities. Hopefully, this helps you with organizing your responsibilities
Your
and guiding,
expectations. Yep.
yeah,
Hopefully it
organizing your
helps you
expectations.
expectations. Yep.
Yeah, so that you can stay on track, not be frustrated, and help your child succeed.